What's up, guys? Welcome back to Scene Invaders, episode 389. I am joined by Coach Dave, who I want to start this episode with an apology to. I have received death threats this week. I've had to leave the house in disguise and be incognito because I dared reference that he was from Pittsburgh and not the delightful land of Philly. What's up, Dave?
Man, everybody likes a little Comanche Brothers. Everybody likes a little Carnegie Mellon. I was going to do, what was I doing this week? Oh, Three Stooges. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, very
Yes.
good.
Almost forgot it. Sorry.
Always great. But yes, my apologies and my apologies to the fans, guys. I'll do better. I promise. Or at least I'll try. And Mr. Brad from Canada, what is up, sir?
How's it going, eh? How's everybody? We all having a good night tonight? Day
Yes.
today? Whenever you're listening,
Okay,
watching,
right.
whatever.
See, I get stuck in that too, because like we always record at night. So like I'm stuck in this nighttime zone and don't realize that sometimes that people listen during other parts of the day. So guys,
You're missing
always
out.
forgive us if we're saying night because
They're missing
it's
out.
night.
You got to listen during the night. It's
Right. That's what this
fascinating.
podcast was meant for, guys.
That's right.
So before we get started on anything today, huge Scene Invaders announcement. So Scene Invaders already has a YouTube channel where they cover a lot of new Apple TV shows. Generally, there's more content on there, but that is their bread and butter, and that's what's getting that channel some recognition right now. So we've decided to start a second channel, which is going to be for this podcast. So if you've been an audio listener, you are now going to get to watch us on YouTube. For these guys, I think that's a pleasure for me. I'm here, guys. So we'll see, but it's going to be. It's just called Scene Invaders Podcast, guys. The link should be live when this is live, and this is going to be our first episode that we're uploading, and plenty of more other fun content to come. But mainly, we are going to be putting the podcast and some clips and things like that. So definitely subscribe and watch us talk you to death instead of just listen to it. So
and you get to comment and tell us we're right, wrong, or indifferent. Say, wow, you guys don't look the way you sound.
Right.
Be nice about it.
Typical
We're
radio.
all faces for radio, yes. But
Please,
lucky you.
right, there it is.
Now we're on your screen.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's really exciting. I'm so pumped for this, and we just want Scene Invaders to be your go-to for really all of your entertainment stuff. We really want to cover everything that's interesting, what's going on, what's good to watch, both TV and movies. And we have an incredible team of people, guys, and
Really do.
we have a lot of heart in this and really want to make this happen for you. So this week, our big discussion is going to be about Longlegs. This is not a movie for Coach. As soon as I saw it, like I messaged the boys immediately. I was like, Coach, abort. Don't go see this, because I
read the spoilers and it freaked me out.
I knew this wasn't for him. But Brad and I were brave enough to go and see this. And Coach Dave might turn into referee Dave tonight, because the rumblings that I'm hearing is that maybe we don't agree on this movie. So it's going to be a fun show, guys.
It is.
And we always like to hit you with what we're... Oh, there. Yeah.
I love it.
We always like to hit you with what we're watching or what we just recently watched, so we can recommend things for you, or even bring some things back to you that maybe you've forgotten about or haven't seen for a really long time, and inspire you to maybe go back and revisit some other things. And we're going to go to Coach first tonight and see what he has been watching.
So I had this nice little upgrade through the Regal Pass. So I had a free IMAX showing. At this point, I'm going to ask my two cohorts if you could open our WhatsApp chat. I tried to add the pictures in the regular thing we had here, but it didn't really turn up. So I went and I saw Skywalker's A Love Story. Now, This is not a Star Wars.
That's exactly what I thought it was when I saw the document for the show, man.
We all kind of thought it.
Now I'm terrified, dude.
So in IMAX, this actually comes out on Netflix at the end of the week. Back in the early 2000s, there was a number of very daring Russians who would kind of climb up to the top of very tall buildings and do like feats of strength. where they would just hold on with one arm and then film themselves and all these crazy things. And it kind of evolved where there's all these daring influencers that would do it all over the world. This tells the story of Angela Nikalu and Ivan Birkus. Now, Angela is a circus child. Her parents were trapeze performers. They go earlier in the documentary of basically the father had left them. So she has this kind of these daddy issues and these kind of like abandonment issues.
Oh, okay.
And she starts basically climbing and filming and climbing and filming. And then she adds a flair to it that takes it to a whole nother level of it's almost like modeling in extreme conditions.
Yeah, from the pictures you sent, definitely looks like that.
So it's almost artwork. On the other side,
very dangerous artwork.
Yes,
horribly dangerous artwork.
So the other side, you have Ivan, who is considered like the best male, like how he gets into buildings, how he gets up to this stuff, and it's wonderful because the whole movie is a documentary about them almost at the end of COVID, during COVID, climbing the highest brand new tower in Taiwan.
Oh.
And it is, Taiwan is, a very strict society. That's where the guy got caned for chewing gum and stuff like that. Like it's very, very strict. So like they could have, been in jail, and not like jail, like Taiwanese prisoner jail.
Yeah.
If they get caught.
No cable TV and bunk bed jail. Like,
so they
kind of pretty good here in North America, guys.
Yeah, they kind of like show them getting together and then them actually like falling in love and becoming this couple. And like they climb up Notre Dame, they climb up all these places, and the main thing is they got caught in France, and Ivan basically could have left Angela because she had stumbled and was getting caught by the French. And he went back and just, no, we're together, blah, blah, blah. So they're both in jail and they both got out. And that was kind of the turning point of their relationship.
Wow.
But then they took this influencer thing to a whole new level.
Sure.
Where like they're both climbing together. And there's scenes where like they are 500 feet in the air and he is holding her off the side of a building.
I've seen stills of stuff like this. I don't know if it was them, but I've definitely seen stills of things like this.
Yeah.
The real interesting thing with this is they film how they got there and they like how they break into a place, how they dress up. They have this rule that like nobody ever looks at you when you're leaving a place, only when you're coming in.
Sure.
So as soon as they're done something, like when you're leaving, if you just keep your head down, you can walk out of anywhere. It's when you walk into anywhere.
Okay. So question, is this a feature length documentary?
Yeah, it was about an hour, I think an hour and a half to an hour 45.
Okay.
Like I saw it in IMAX. I was terrified. The last bit, I was pouring sweat. I mean, like, listen, I'm a big guy and it's summertime, but I mean, like, I was dripping sweat and like I could see not only me, but like I kind of looked over and a couple people, they're grabbing into the armrests.
Oh, I would be too. I feel that.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate.
Well, especially because you're watching something real. This is not fiction.
Oh, this is not fiction.
Documentary.
It's not fiction. Like, and they have drones that circle around. Like, I was a big fan of Free Solo, and I still think Free Solo is a much better of this. This is a little more just kind of like urban, and there's a love story in it.
Okay.
But if you'd like Free Solo, you'll definitely love this.
Dude, I haven't even heard of that. So, like, I
Free
have
Solo?
2 things I have
Free
to
Solo.
watch.
Yeah,
Free Solo is a guy who like free climbs without ropes. I think it's El Capitan.
Oh my god, that makes me sick.
So wait. Because I'm a big loser. The 2 things featuring this are Solo and Skywalker.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
all right. Sorry. Just had to.
So Star Wars nerd within us all.
Yeah. Well,
I highly recommend it. It's going to hit Netflix, and people enjoy it. It was funny. We went in the IMAX screening. They only have it for a couple of days. So when they screened it on IMAX, it cut off half of the subtitles.
Oh, okay.
So we're kind of like being in awe, scared of the height, and learning.
Okay, right.
trying to connect all the lettering. And someone went to the manager and it was just like, well, that's the way it is. I'm like,
Sure.
well, okay.
Sorry, guys. This kind of reminds me of something, and forgive me. I think it is on Netflix, guys, and it's kind of in this same vein in a way, but it's just another extreme, almost sport type of thing. I forgive me. I think it is called the Deepest Breath, and it is a documentary about free diving.
Yes.
Where people oh my God, without tanks and shit, dive like obscenely far down into the ocean and try to set records and outdo each other. And for one, I live by the ocean, but I'm terrified of it. I would never put my body in it. I'll go on a boat, but this bitch is not motherfucking swimming in that ocean.
Yeah, I swim in the ocean. I didn't get attacked by sharks or anything like that, but
I'm scared of everything that lives in water. I have an irrational fear of all of it. I know it's irrational, but it is a fear, and I can't help it, guys. It's like spiders. I know they're do-gooders and they catch bugs and stuff, but yeah, right. But yeah, I feel the same way.
Man.
No spider, no snake.
Spiders are good.
See, I'm just gonna throw the Deepest
Breath.
I'm pretty sure it's called the Deepest Breath, guys, and I'm gonna throw that in there too. So if you're into something like this and sort of like an extreme documentary, that is an excellent one. It's very, very
the last thing I'll say about this is, if you are a fan of Dirty Dancing, that is the pose that they are trying to hit on the top of this.
Like with him like lifting,
with him holding her above his head as she's in a flying pose as a drone is whizzing around them.
Wow.
As I pick up Depends, like
no kidding.
Just for the viewing of this.
So I shared
IMAX, you brave soul.
Yeah, I shared it with you. Well, it's better than was it RTX, where I almost got killed.
Dislocated ribs and all
that. I will share it on their Instagram on social medias.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out. Would you guys watch?
Mr. Brad, how about you? I think you were being a smarter guy than us this week. And
no, not at all. Not at all.
I was learning things.
I was nerding things, not learning things, because I didn't actually watch anything. I read a couple of things. Now, don't get excited. They're the picture books. They're the picture books, the funny picture books. I read, I went to my local comic shop because I don't read comics online because I think I don't know. I spend enough time in front of the TV and all that, and computer, so I like to actually just grab a stack of comics and like actually go outside and just sit in my hammock and read. This week I picked up, if you can see it, if you're watching on YouTube, this is more beneficial. Transformers number 10. Now this is the continuation of Robert Kirkman's Skybound universe, in which where he kind of retells the stories of 1985's Transformers. It's nothing like the movies. It's nothing like the cartoon. It is like a complete retelling, still being very faithful to the source material. You still have Optimus Prime. You still have Megatron. You still have Starscream. The only difference is they're actually doing stuff that you want them to do.
Okay.
Like, I always fantasize because my favorite Decepticon beyond Megatron was Soundwave.
Okay.
That's
the boombox, right?
Yep, the tape deck.
Oh, yeah.
And I always thought he just played the big science nerd in the show, and I thought he's a lot cooler than that.
Right.
And, well, in one full issue of 8 or 7 or something like that, for about half the book, he kicks the shit out of Starscream. Just beats him to death, and because Starscream kicked one of his tapes, Ravage the cat. And I'm like, I'm down. I'm totally down. And I also picked up a G.I. Joe comic, Scarlet, a mini-series. It's also in the Robert Kirkman Skybound shared universe with Transformers. Transformers and G.I. Joe Hasbro properties. They are crossing over in the comics. And also, complete retelling of the original G.I. Joe story. If you were a fan of the comics, it's nothing to do with them other than just like names. They've not modernized it, but just kept it fun.
Okay.
They keep it fun. They make it like almost a spy story.
Okay.
More than a toy commercial.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
which
It's not just
I'm guilty. I have a lot of
advertisement.
the toys too for
Okay.
both of them. And you can tell that Robert Kirkman is of a vintage that he loved. Robert Kirkman's he invented The Walking Dead and Amazon Prime's Invincible, which was a comic too. So
Okay.
he has more money than a couple of gods.
Oh, okay.
So he can buy whatever he wants and shape the way he wants it. But I say you could tell he's a certain age because of his affinity for these things.
Sure.
Because if I could tell a Transformer story, hey, I wonder if Soundwave ever kicked the shit out of Starscream.
Okay.
And then he pays people, say, man, do me a favor. You want the boombox to kick the shit out of the freaking fighter jet? Never gonna happen. You know, it's comics.
So are these not officially tied in with? So are they like an indie offshoot thing, or are they officially tied in with like the original like comics? And
I don't think they are, because there is also the original G.I. Joe comic by Larry Hama that is continuing. I read that too. I just haven't gotten one. And it tells the story of G.I. Joe, a real American hero, which inspired the cartoon and the toys and all that. So this is just kind of like a splinter. They call it the Energon universe. And there is a few other miniseries and 2 major books and another G.I. Joe comic actually spawning out of it. It started with Transformers and did some miniseries with Duke and Scarlet and Destro, and it is coming in November as its own comic book G.I. Joe.
Word.
And legit, I read these things 2 or 3 times.
Nice, I love it.
Before I put them away.
So this is not meant to discount like any of this. Like, I just don't know another way to put it. So is this sort of like the equivalent of like comic book like fan fiction?
Kinda is, honestly. Like, that is a great way to put it. It is like on the fringe. Things that happened in the long established original G.I. Joe comics, there were some deaths of characters. They can show up now.
Okay.
And you're not beholden to one or the other.
But it's made by people who like love this IP.
They
love this brand.
This. Yeah. It is some of the best art and phonetic fun writing. And yeah, I always joked whenever I go to the comic store, they say, okay, you got Transformers, you got G.I. Joe, and you got Thundercats. And I'm like, yep. It's kind of evident that my adolescent TV watching has turned into my adult reading. So everything old is new again. And yeah, if you're a comic fan in any iteration, the trades are out. You do not need to know anything about anything to enjoy these. That's another great thing, is these are all original stories and you're not bogged down by continuity, which makes
that's nice.
So hard right now to get into Marvel or DC. You got all these wonderful movies, everything like that. Well, where do I start? I don't know. Where do you start?
So out of curiosity, was something like that, you know how volatile like the Star Wars community can be and the fans and all that kind of stuff. Like are the fans of like G.I. Joe, Transformers, like do they welcome this, or are they like pissed about this? Like, no, you mess with my
They're really actually happy with it.
Okay, good.
Because
they're like, we get more content. Hell yeah.
I think it's it's more content, it's good content, and it's good stories.
Okay.
That helps, because you can mess with a lot of stuff and tell really trashy stories. But you do it and you tell a good story, you're gold.
Sure.
Dave was frozen.
Yeah,
Dave was frozen because he's gonna come back.
He is so shook by these comics.
Oh, that's just it. Can you tell we're making our debut on YouTube? This has never happened.
Okay, right, exactly.
But yeah, whether you like it or whether you don't, it's great writing. It really is great writing and fun storytelling.
I have a confession, guys. And I guess that's what makes this show diverse and interesting. I can't say that I have ever read a comic in my life. I, of course, have seen them. I don't live under a rock. But I don't know that I've ever actually read a comic. Like growing up, I liked He-Man. I liked a little bit of like.
They're probably going to come soon too.
Yeah, and like, do you remember Mask?
Oh,
which were like the vehicles that like went from a Jeep to like a boat flew out of it. And
yep,
that kind of stuff.
yep.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
love
dog.
that.
Those were my toys. Yeah, like, oh my god. Nah.
Whoa, that was harsh, dude. That was crazy harsh.
I almost died.
Fun with widgets.
Okay,
Oh
right.
That scared the hell
See
out
the
of me a
fun
little
here
bit
in store for,
too.
guys. Holy shit, dude. I almost
This is
peed
our
my
first
pants.
show. Wait, we're gonna get better with this stuff. Trust me.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No, it's about to be lit here on Scene Invaders for real. So, but no, could you hear me like while you were gone, Mr. Dave?
I did not. I don't know where I went. I just
Gotcha.
disappeared.
I was just telling him quickly, like, and that's kind of what like makes this fun and diverse and shit. Like, I don't think I've ever read a comic in my life. Like, I've never had a problem with it, but it's just not like the way. It's just not.
I struggle with it. I really do. I'll be honest. Like,
I like to read, but
I was so thankful when Watchmen was turned into another medium, because I tried the book really, and it just I struggle with the structure of comics, but I love anything like even the loose animation, anything with
motion
voiceovers, motion comics I love, but I struggle with the actual reading.
Yeah, I think we're all sort of predisposed in some ways to sort of enjoy things or not. Like I know Dan doesn't necessarily like he has a block with like animation, and I do not have that block, but I do have sort of a block with anime. Like it's just something that it's just I've never found something that's like super duper compelling to like keep me wanting more. I don't have a problem with it, and of course I've never shit on someone who likes that or that's their thing.
Well,
I've just had like a weird like
important to shit on people that don't like what you like.
See, God, there's plenty of that going on.
If you're a Star Wars nerd or something, and you know that Batman can beat up Superman, and you know, like G.I. Joe would really, really take over like the Mission Impossible universe. There are podcasts dedicated to this wonderful fiction of these battles, and I love it all because you know what? You're all right.
Yeah.
Everybody's correct. And just enjoy. God, none of this shit's real.
Right.
We're not gonna die screaming.
No. Okay, right.
Just laugh and have fun.
Exactly.
So as kind of like
as I watched the last episode of The Acolyte, I really liked it. And come at me, Star Wars people.
Right. As the more like resident horror guy here, of the three of us for sure. I've been thinking about like I know there's a lot of like super toxic fandom around Star Wars. And I think the horror equivalent of that would be Halloween. God, I mean, there are some rotted ass Halloween fans out there, and I love Halloween, guys. Don't come at me, like don't at me. I love it, but man, it's like that's like the one weird horror franchise that for some reason, no matter what, like people just are you can't shit on any of it ever. And yeah.
But what if it's shit?
Crazy. Yeah, no, exactly. And like some of it is.
I'm not saying it's shit. I'm not saying it's shit. I'm saying what if I don't like something?
Exactly. And that like
what I've heard you love something and you don't like something. That's okay. I'm not going to try and convince you to like something. Go like something else.
For sure. And like you guys have discussed before, especially with Star Wars and like how vast that universe is. There's all kinds of stuff for all kinds of people. And if you don't happen to like this particular path, then don't watch it or listen to it or whatever. And you can go down like whatever other this path is that you like.
Well, that rules my favorite meme that I've seen in a while. We talked about Civil War, the movie. It made a lot of our top fives with our top five discussion.
All of us.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, man. We're from America. Or we're American. What kind of American are you? There's a meme that has Jesse Clemens stand there with a gun. He says, "Oh, you're a Star Wars fan. What kind of Star Wars fan are you?"
Okay, right.
And it's so silly and so divisive. Like,
but it's so real. Like it's so true. Unfortunately. And
my favorite thing is on Facebook is when somebody posts something about the Acolyte, a comment or anything, or any of the prequels, sequels, or anything. It doesn't matter. I scroll down and read comments, and there's always one guy or girl. It's become very inclusive now. And they say, "Who fucking cares?"
Yeah.
And my silly ass feels compelled to reply, well, you cared enough to comment.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh, I think we're coming.
Uh-oh. We've lost Mr. Dave again, guys.
He'll come
It's
back.
okay.
He'll come
He'll
back.
be back.
He was trying
Yeah.
to widget us again. He calls nerds. Your
As
time
much
to
as
call
I
us nerds again.
Yeah, that's right. As much as I love like entertainment and media and all that kind of stuff, like I would never look down on someone who does not like the same thing that I like. This is all art across the board, whatever medium it may be. And art is subjective no matter what. And not
No.
everyone's going to feel 100 people could say this is a masterpiece. Then you could have 10 more that say this is the absolute worst thing that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what makes all of this so interesting. And again, like I've said it before, like why I say in my opinion so much,
And
because
I'm
it
here
is
for all
my
of it.
opinion, guys. Yeah, me too.
Like I can't truly love something unless I can make fun of it.
Okay,
If I can
right.
poke holes and stuff.
Sure.
Oh,
Okay.
there's
I
stuff
lo-
that's absolute trash for sure. And I
I
think like
love the Transformers, but I can get my head around that. Hey, giant space robots are silly.
but could be
Mhm.
fun. I mean, I like the idea, but I gotta say I've yet to enjoy one of the Transformers live action films. I have not had that experience yet. And I keep trying with like every new one that comes out. And I'm like, this is gonna be the one, guys. Whatever the last one, what like last year's, oh my god.
Beast War or something like that.
Holy shit. That was like one of 2 movies I saw that year that I could not wait until it was over. I
It's
was
just
like, man,
it's spitting colors and fire to me. I don't know what's going on.
it just
Spitting
like I
colors
don't
and
have a problem
fire.
with the premise. It had the way
not
they
you.
presented these have not worked for me.
And by the way, that's my my band's name, Spinning Colors with Fire.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes, I love it.
I'm showing up, and I am a roadie and a groupie for it.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. We're bringing glow sticks, dude.
I already got mine.
Did you have more what's new, Mr. Brad?
No, sir.
Okay.
Except for Longlegs, so it is up to you, Mr. Chad.
All right. And I'm glad that I like properly look like I'm like reporting from hell right now because that really was my goal since we're discussing Longlegs tonight. I really didn't watch a whole lot this week. I was very, very excited for Longlegs. We're going to get into the excitement level of things like this a little bit later. But I kept seeing this comparison to Silence of the Lambs. And
Me
as
too.
someone,
A lot.
oh yes, and as someone who's familiar with this director and the previous films they made, I was like, that's interesting because not what I would expect. And I realized it had been several years since I had watched The Silence of the Lambs. And boy, does that movie hold up. Oh, dude, I sat here riveted on the sofa. Like I had never seen it before. Like I didn't know what was going to happen. And I think it's a masterpiece. Jonathan Demme made a masterful, like crime thriller horror film. And yeah, I do throw horror in there a little bit. Yes, it's a bit more just of a
It
crime
is
thriller.
horror.
Mhm.
It's like
It is
procedural.
absolute horror.
But yeah, no, it's scary. Like it sticks with you, and that's horror, in my opinion.
Agreed.
And yeah, it's just so great. So I had to revisit it before we went into Longlegs, and I'm pretty sure that I'm confident that both of you guys also are fans of Silence of the Lambs.
It's easily a top 5 movie to me. The fact that it's shot from a female's point of view, so a lot of it is shooting up and like looking at like the height and the motivation differences and the just all the different things. It's an absolute masterclass in tension, in directing actors, in storytelling. Like I can't go on and on. And some of the best character actors and minor characters, whether it's Mad Miggs or the 2 bug guys that are playing, was it checkers with cockroaches, and like everybody has a story in there, and you could shoot a movie about any character in that whole thing. You could do a whole mini series on just the corruption of the warden.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that warden. Everybody loved to hate that warden.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I think it ends with some of the most tense and like honestly like nail biting cinema like
Mhm.
of all
Yeah.
time that I've ever seen. Like of all time, I'm going to put that out there. Like that's sounds hyperbolic, but it's just it's so absolutely gripping and frightening, and it's just
Well,
a masterpiece.
I don't think I've ever seen that kind of point of view of somebody with night vision goggles
Yes.
Mhm.
and just like playing with their food, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the sound, like
Oh.
just the humming of it.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
Just if you ever played that video game Splinter Cell, that ping noise, of ping.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Sure.
and like I always forget his name, but I love him so much. The gentleman that played Buffalo Bill.
God, I can't remember it right now either. Fuck.
And he's also in another favorite movie of mine, Heat. Oh, what's his name? I'm
It's
looking it up.
Buffalo
You
Bill.
guys
Sorry,
continue on.
guys. Buffalo Bill.
I just saw him in something like
I
recent too.
mean, the Goodbye Horses dance, of course, is
Mhm.
iconic.
Iconic. Yeah, we just
But
discussed that recently.
The way he procured women with pretending to be disabled,
Oh yeah,
and just the
terrifying, dude.
the absolute ferocity that he could turn, because he almost looked ignorant, but
Ted Levine.
He looked pretty.
I mean,
Yes, Ted Levine. Hell yeah.
he has a unique look to him.
Oh yes.
Great
He almost
voice.
looks like was it the Angry Itch? Like almost the 80s rockers.
Yes.
But also was it Hedwig the Angry Itch?
Oh
And
yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
God, I
Sorry.
haven't seen that in a minute for
Oh,
sure.
me neither. That's been
But yeah,
forever.
like guys, if you haven't revisited this in a long time, I feel of course everybody's seen this, so it's hardly like a recommend. And if you haven't seen it, my God, fucking
Goodness.
see this for real. Like, I mean, it's the Silence of the Lambs, guys. It's one of the
Oh.
very few like genre adjacent or like genre pictures to ever get recognized by the Academy. And I
Yes.
always thought what was so fascinating about this is I'm pretty sure that the year that it came out in either like January or February. So like super duper early in the year. And movies like that
Was-
just tend to get left in the dust. Like
Yeah,
by
it was
the time,
recognized by the Academy because
well, yeah.
it's that good. But I mean, you got, like you said, the stellar cast. I mean, Jodie Foster's a damn legend.
Oh
You
God.
can't say enough good things about Anthony Hopkins, who was in a Transformers movie. Checkmate.
Okay.
A really bad one, but you know they're all.
I
And
love it.
his
he's been in all of
portrayal.
them?
Oh yes.
I'm sorry.
absolutely.
I'm sorry.
Whoa. Effort.
He said low effort.
Yeah, no, I love it. Love it. We're still
But
friends.
yeah.
You don't like what I like, and we're still friends.
Okay, exactly. You know what, guys? I'm leaving this fucking. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah,
Silence of the Lambs will bring us back.
So we had all the
it is
comparisons.
kind of a perfect movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
I don't think anybody would doubt that.
I know
I've heard
somebody.
there's a doubt.
I know somebody.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
So I'm.
Is
We
this going to
rented
ruin like Indiana Jones? Like the
No.
If if Indiana was never there, it all would have happened the same.
It made me really kind of say, Dad, shut up. It's a movie. We were watching Silence of the Lambs. We rented it, and the thing was stunning, and it was great. All that until the ending with credits, and I'm like, my God, Dad, do you like that? And he says, oh, I loved it. He says, I read the book. And I'm like, oh, really? Did it hold up? And he says, yeah, except for the 6 fingers and all that. I'm like, yeah, fair enough. And Hannibal Lecter has 6 fingers on his left hand in the book.
I read it a long time ago, but
yeah, and he's very wafy thin. That's pretty much it.
He killed Inigo Montoya's father.
Yes, he did.
He should prepare to die.
Okay, right, prepare to die.
I wonder if they got it from that.
Oh shit.
Well,
I'm sorry. I mean,
that was great. That was great.
You
can't make a Princess Bride reference and enjoy yourself. You're not a good person. I don't care.
Agreed.
So we talked about the movie and it was all great. And he said just one thing, and I'm like, sure, Dad. What is it? He's like, after he beat the one cop to death when they were in that the false prison, and he demanded lamb chops and such, and he like had the little part of the pen in his mouth and was able to pick the handcuffs and all. And then he beat the cop to death, used the mace and all that. And then the police officers walked in, and you saw this grotesque scene of the officer crucified, hung up, and it was just very impactful, very shocking, very great. And my dad's describing this scene. I'm like, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. He's like, how did you get him up there?
Oh,
I'm like, what? He's like, did he have like a pulley system? Did he hold him up? He said, you need help to do that.
okay, I feel that.
I'm like, oh.
Shit. Well, thanks, Dad.
And that's exactly what I said, Dad. You saw him pull his face off, right? And he's like, yeah, I can buy that.
Right.
I can buy that.
He's face free. I honestly had sort of like that same thought in a way about Kill as well. I'm like, that dog, like he hung all those people up by himself or
That
whatever.
man was in shape.
Sometimes you got to go with it, though.
Well, that's just it. That's kind of what we're saying. Like,
He had plenty of time. I mean, like, they did hire Chris Isaac as a SWAT commander for it.
That's true.
Okay.
And
Cinema, movies in
look at
general,
him.
like you got to suspend your disbelief.
What
a little bit.
Well, now we're off YouTube because you just sang this. And you sang it flawlessly, Dave. Flawlessly.
That was. I feel your band is gonna blow up, dog. I can feel it.
What was it? Spinning Colors and Fire.
Yeah.
Spinning Colors and Fire. I'm making a T-shirt.
We are a Chris Isaac cover band. We only do
Chris
with
Isaac,
this game
yeah.
over and over again.
I'm there for it.
God.
I'm
I
there
would
for a whole
honestly
thing.
probably go. That's for real.
That's pretty good.
But yeah, the reason I ended up watching this, guys, is because I kept seeing comparison to Longlegs. This is a new movie, of course, that just came out this past weekend from director Osgood Perkins, who is the son of Anthony Perkins. It seems a lot of people are just now learning this. This is his fourth feature film. The Black Coat's Daughter, I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, and Gretel and Hansel. I love The Black Coat's Daughter. I loved I'm the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. I hated Gretel and Hansel, but I still could not help but be.
Gretel and Hansel have Hawkeye in it.
I'm not sure.
No, I'm thinking
It's beautiful to look at. Like all of his, like even Longlegs, it's beautiful. Like the cinematography is flawless. It looks amazing. But like that movie, God, it's not often that I lob this word around when it comes to entertainment in general because it's just not something that affects me much. But Gretel and Hansel was boring as fuck, guys. I halfway through that movie, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I have this much time left of this movie. Like I am not ready. But Longlegs stars Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage. And Micah Monroe plays an FBI special agent who is tasked with taking on a case that is decades old, incredibly mysterious about fathers of families essentially killing their wives and children, and why the killer associated with all of this has not ever been like found or caught. And just to give you guys a warning, this movie has been out for a little bit now. We are going to spoil this movie.
We're spoiling this movie, yes.
Yeah, if you don't want spoilers for this, definitely click out and come back when you've seen it. But I think in order for us to like discuss it properly, we're going to have to spoil this movie a bit.
You have to. There's been enough hype on online comparing it to Silence of the Lambs and various things, even to the point that, I wish they didn't tell me Nicolas Cage was in it.
You wouldn't know, honestly. I think you probably wouldn't have really even known, except for a couple of mannerisms. Because
absolutely.
The look was not. I was like, I mean, honestly, I still like when I enter my little back hallway to go to the bathroom and it's dark and shit. I'm like, fuck. And there's not even really stuff like that in this movie. Like, there's not like
too much creepy walking into things. There is some very stylized jump scares.
Yeah, definitely.
That is played up, but with the music and the sound very, very well.
Oh yeah.
Now, here's a spoiler alert. Chad and I are on different spectrums of this movie. I believe he truly enjoyed it. So
I love it.
Do me a favor. Let's start off strong and tell me what you enjoyed, because I don't like talking poorly about entertainment, but I do have I have some notes. So
okay, I got you. So I kind of knew what I was getting into here. as having seen Osgood Perkins' previous films, Oz Perkins, he does these very atmospheric slow burns. And I was going to be very surprised if this became like some suddenly like pedal to the metal, like mainstream feeling Silence of the Lambs ripoff or whatever it may be. So of course you buy into the hype a little bit because I mean at times you're seeing this has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and on all of that kind of stuff. But as someone who's enjoyed two of his previous films and only one I didn't, I was pretty excited because I was like, this could be amazing. And Perkins is more concerned here with creating atmosphere, just like he has in all of his previous films. And the way so much of this is shot and for such a prolonged amount of time is going to be the thing that people either are going to be on board with, I think, or they're not. He'll center characters in a frame. He'll leave just extreme amounts of space around them. And you know, like when you're watching a horror film and it's like building up to a jump scare and like things are a little bit quiet, like you're shown like different areas around a person that like something could come from.
Something could be there.
Yeah, there are just incredibly sustained moments like this that don't necessarily pay off, but it for me left me on just the absolute edge of my seat because it's like you're just constantly waiting for like this jump scare to happen. And
Right.
I am not a jump scare horror person. I think it's one of the cheapest tropes in a way, unless it's incredibly well done, which the couple here I thought were incredibly well done.
Well, I'll agree with you on that. Like there's one early on, and
The
it's
very beginning, dude.
the very beginning, and it is simply achieved by zooming in on somebody's vest.
Someone just, I was going to say, I thought like from the very, very beginning, like when he just leans down into the frame, like,
Not even. It was just simply him being there.
yeah, it's just absolutely wild. And like, I like that kind of tension in a film. That's the stuff that like gets under my skin and makes me uncomfortable and scares me. If you're
Right.
constantly like there's a cat at the window that jumped out, or someone like you close the bathroom mirror and someone's behind you or whatever, like that can be like fun a little bit. But this is the kind of movie that like plays with that stuff a little bit and doesn't necessarily pay it off for you. I also thought the look of this film it just is absolutely stunning. And the director of photography, this is his first feature film as director of photography.
It's stunning.
It's
So
stunning.
I cannot say a bad thing about how this movie looks.
For sure.
Not at all.
And I found it very truly interesting. I mean, as you meet Micah Monroe's character, you're led pretty early to believe that there's probably some kind of a connection here between her and Longlegs. This is the character that Nicolas Cage plays. He's the titular character.
He's the
But
evil.
you don't know exactly like why or how they might be connected. And I thought the investigation part of this and sort of like trying to uncover clues, it has a very Zodiac feel to it. There are like these ciphers and he's sending like coded messages and they've never been able to crack them. And one night, like while she sits in her house, like, and I thought this scene was honestly like pretty terrifying. Like she lives out in the middle of sort of nowhere. She's at her desk in the woods and she starts to hear noises outside when she's on the phone with her mom, hangs up. And then, I mean, she's an FBI agent, so she does come across as a little bit scared in this movie, I think. But she does, I think, what a lot of like law enforcement and FBI and all that kind of stuff would do. She exits the house to see what might be going on, to see if there's something that needs taken care of. And there's a scene where she's outside, she's got her gun drawn, and she's just like looking into the woods in the darkness. And you can see through a window, like into her house, that someone has entered there and they're like walking through. And that shit sent chills down my spine. And from there, I think this movie takes off into a place that is either going to work for some or it's not. It definitely has supernatural elements to it that I did not expect going in. That's the one thing that absolutely caught me off guard. I thought it was going to, even I do think it stays pretty grounded considering that there are supernatural elements, but it definitely takes a turn later on that I think this is probably where it lost Brad, where, yeah, again, you're going to either be on board with it or you're not. And I was on board, dude.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. The people that were on board, awesome. I'm glad this is your thing. It really is. But beyond the supernatural, which I always think that when it comes to the horror movies, supernatural is definitely a way to go, but present it as supernatural.
Sure.
This was, as we said, presented as a Silence of the Lambs.
Sure.
Possible, probable, I don't even know the terminology.
Like a based in reality.
Misery.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs stuff. Now, that's not even my biggest problem with it.
Okay.
Now, there is like some satanic worship and puts essence into the brains of these dolls, and these dolls drive these people crazy. And that's the whole thing that makes the husbands kill everybody.
Yes.
And now he has a partner, and it turns out to be her mother.
Yes.
Who played by Alicia Witt, who
she was great.
I have not seen in forever.
Yeah, same.
Still looks great.
Yeah, no, I thought she was great in this movie. I loved it.
Did a lot of people compare like her performance in this to Toni Collette's in Hereditary?
I don't think it reaches, like, for me,
not as good. But, okay.
Different.
And I thought Micah Monroe in this, I thought was incredible. I could absolutely see people who are not feeling her performance, because she plays someone who like comes across as, like, I guess the nicest way to put it would be like a little bit on the spectrum. It's shown very early on that she has some sort of like a slightly psychic ability, because right after this film opens and like you kind of see Longlegs for the first time in a flashback, it flashes to her like basically being told as an FBI agent to go door to door because we're trying to find a killer, and we don't know which killer yet. And as her and her partner are out, she just has sort of like a feeling, a premonition that, I think he's in there.
With that, I was okay with that.
No, definitely.
Not the psychic abilities, though, perhaps just a gut feeling or something along those lines. But beyond her supposed code-breaking ability, which honestly annoyed me. Because
like how she was able to do the ciphers?
Because she did it off-screen.
Yeah, I feel that.
We were presented with what could be a real mystery.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Well, he gives her the answer. And
here's the mystery. Here's the mystery. Go, go, go. Okay, I solved it. And like, we didn't get a chance to figure it out. So I felt a little robbed in that aspect.
I feel that.
And the other thing is, man, as much as I love the character and as much as I love the cinematography around it, like you said, I've never been so uncomfortable with empty space.
Oh, yes. I started around the screen like
so claustrophobic with cluttered space.
Yeah.
You know,
there's that too.
It felt like something could come in frame.
Oh, yes.
It could be hidden behind anything else.
That's why it got under my skin.
I love that. And, you know, I was on pins and needles the whole thing. But the more that I thought about it, this character, Lee Harker, is the most hapless fucking FBI agent I've ever seen.
I feel that. I think I get the vibe too, that kind of like Clarice Starling in a way, that she is new to being like a federal agent.
Sure. Okay.
And weird for sure. Like I'm very stoic and weird.
I'm all for new.
Sorry. But, is she wearing cheap shoes?
Okay, right. I would die.
I'm sorry, Brad.
No, you kidding? That's great. I love that. You're the best. No, what she was letting people die when she could have stopped it.
Well, I think she didn't quite understand how to stop it quite yet.
Shoot the son of a bitch.
Well, yeah, there's that for sure.
There is that. Kill his wife. She knows it. This is the pattern. She's standing there with a gun. She waits for this guy to go to kill his wife.
Yeah.
And then come back and says, well, maybe I will shoot him now.
Yeah.
Brad, it sounds like you had a very common sense approach of standing up in the movie theater saying, don't go in this room.
Exactly. It does lead to the point like that too, where like,
when like psychic abilities are put into this doll, and they introduce dolls, which is always creepy.
Yes. Oh my God. That
nobody likes dolls. And then when they found a doll through this cipher that she figured out off screen. Thanks, lady. Don't bring us into the mystery.
And through the girl
they took the doll to where else would you take it? To where you do autopsies.
Okay,
Sure.
the coroner.
Coroner.
Oh my God. I am dead.
They cut an iron ball out of this doll's head
That's
and
filled with
then
satanic
put
energy.
put some PKE meter on it and plugged it in and said, "It's making noise." Well, what's full of it? Nothing. Ooh,
There's nothing inside
scary.
of it.
It makes me think of my ex-wife. Okay, you've been here too long. I'm taking this doll, because you're gonna fuck it.
Facts.
Like,
Okay.
so, like, we're and I'm sorry, that's
No,
what
I
it
get
went
where you're.
it
I
went
get
a
it,
little
dude.
off the rails, but I'm torn. I'm so torn because it is so beautifully shot, but it just doesn't make sense.
What did you think
And
about Nicolas Cage in this movie?
I think that any rational human that saw Mr. Nicolas Cage come into your hobby store and give the progression of cuckoo, cuckoo, first of all, he has got more makeup than Rocky Dennis.
Yes,
And
he has prosthetics on. He's made to look extremely pale. He almost looks
he's
androgynous,
he's
like
albino.
an old woman kind of.
Yeah, he's an albino androgynous, which
I thought
add
it was
to
terrifying.
he was absolutely
Oh my God.
terrifying.
I have seen that image entirely too, and this movie is so smart about how it doles him out too. Like
It
it's a
does.
really long time before you ever really see him, and you don't get a whole lot of time like truly actually seeing him. It's like Jaws. He's like kept in the shadows a lot.
And they do
And
that
you get
well.
snippets and like little like tastes here and there, and I thought it was exceptionally well done because I think it could be the kind of thing that could be overdone for sure, and. But I'm telling you, dog, like, I mean, even like when I arrived home, like after my first viewing, when I arrived home, it was dark. I got out of my car. I live in an apartment complex with like 9,000 people here.
Mhm.
And
So
I,
don't help anybody put chairs in the back of their
God,
No.
no, but I was
in their
scared.
U-Hauls.
And they never utilize him in that way. You never see him kill anyone because he doesn't do it
He doesn't
actively
kill.
himself. He does it
No.
through these dolls.
He does it through magic Satan energy.
But there's something that seeps into, at least for me, into your skin, like into your bones, that like is so alarming about him and so frightening that like it just sticks with you.
Horribly disturbing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
The look, the gait, the walk, the
His
eyes,
voice.
the voice when he's driving and screeches, "Daddy, Mommy,
Oh my God.
will you free me from life? Will you free me from life?"
Yeah.
It is. He is terrifying, which I think that annoyed me more than anything is you had every piece of which could have been so wonderful. And it sounds like it was lazy writing to introduce supernatural satanic folklore.
I did not expect it for sure, but I wasn't surprised, I would say, when it
I
came
was.
about. Just
I
because
was
I'm
because
just familiar with his movies.
of how coolly it was presented.
Yeah.
Like I'm not mad at the movie or anything like that. This is
Yeah.
and I don't dislike the movie. All I can really say is this movie, while it may be for other people, is not for me.
Sure. And I think that's absolutely fair for sure. And I definitely can see the criticism from people who have maybe, I don't want to say they've been duped into seeing this. Like
No.
feels unfair.
I don't feel I was duped.
But I think a lot of people feel they've been duped.
Really?
Unfortunately.
Well,
Oh yes.
okay. I could see that. I can see that, and that's a shame because, the trailers are presented, commercials are presented to get you in there.
See, luckily I was smart. See, I already knew I was into this. All I needed in my life to know was that Nicolas Cage was a serial killer, and I'm sold.
And me too.
I avoided trailers like it was my job for this. Like I saw a couple of still images online, and that's all I ever wanted. And like I mentioned earlier, like my friend Mac, who literally never goes to the movies and stuff, he was actually following these trailers. He had come across one, and they released a ton. Like this is one of the smartest marketing campaigns of recent memory. I wouldn't say of ever, but like of recent memory for sure, in a really long time. Where Neon, they put in the work to make sure people knew what this was, were absolutely interested in it, and went to the movies to see it. This film was projected to make $7 to $9 million on its opening weekend, and it brought in almost 23 million.
Oh, that's fantastic.
When I went to the Thursday night showing, the first available showing in my area, and that theater was sold out And when I wanted to go see it again Friday, but I was tired. I work hard, and I was tired from work, guys, and I didn't want to go into it like being an exhausted bitch. So I ended up going back to see it on my day off on Sunday, and that theater was all but a couple of seats like completely sold out. And I just haven't seen something like that really since honestly like Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I went and saw it on Monday, and the theater was 3/4 full.
Okay. And that's, I mean, for something like this, that's huge. And it just kind of makes you wonder. The marketing, while it's genius, of course, and they're presenting these like very cryptic trailers that are like drip feeding you like really kind of nothing. Like now that I've seen the movie, I've gone back, I've watched some trailers for it. I made a short for it for the Scene Invaders YouTube. And yeah, woohoo, subscribe, guys. So now I see like it was actually brilliantly done. It really doesn't give a whole lot away. Like if you want to sit and dissect every single like one frame scene of the trailer, yeah, you could probably figure some shit out. But like it's the kind of thing that for a casual goer or someone who is not going to dissect frame by frame something,
no,
I thought was incredibly well done. It built a lot of intrigue, and I just can't think of another movie that has done it quite like this. I think smaller studios like Neon, A24, those are the two. I don't want to say egregious, but they're probably the two like. I was about to say offenders. I'm not trying to talk about it like it's bad. You want to promote your movies. You want to.
They're the two studios that know what they have and they know how to sell it.
But I think sometimes, unfortunately, they sell it in a way that for people like us that are slightly more savvy moviegoers and we go to the cinema more often and we know what to expect, isn't working necessarily quite on us, but it's roping in people that go maybe once or twice a year or once a decade, like my friends. And it gets people to go to the theater and then they're like, fuck, I can't believe I bought into this bullshit because this is not what I expected, because it generally tends to be a little bit more on the art house side and not. And this is not a derogatory thing. It's not mainstream cinema. I don't think Longlegs is that. I think it's Oscar. It's mainstream feeling film, but it's still not, it's not crowd pleasing, big mainstream. So.
Well, I mean, like you said with Neon and A24, they have to be creative because
they're small.
They're small. Like it's the story that Kevin Smith always tells of like, well, they gave me $700,000 for Chasing Amy, and my producer was just like, I looked at my producer, I'm like, what are we going to do? Oh, we have to be creative.
Sure.
And then it's what we're doing. Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. They're giving us $50 million. Well, we have a problem. What are we going to do? Let's throw some money at it.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me of like the big one is kind of like the Blair Witch. So like when that one was coming out, it was teaser after teaser after teaser.
Well, it was made for people to believe that it was real.
But then on the flip side, you have something like The Dark Knight, and they had like the almost like the Joker does this, and you had to almost investigate all these weird websites to find out about The Dark Knight.
Right.
There's a lot of that with Longlegs as well, for sure.
And
it's like an ARG element to it.
Oh, I called the phone number.
Oh yeah,
I did that too.
Yeah, it works here in Canada. It was him singing "Happy Birthday," which is great.
There's a video I'll send you guys too. Like there was like this whole like entire like there was like an augmented reality like game sort of element to it where people could like investigate on their own and like really like you could figure out the entire thing before you ever went to see it if you wanted to like put that kind of like time and effort into it. I didn't realize this until after the movie was out, but when the video I watched on it was almost 2 hours, and I thought it was really fascinating. And like that's like that's marketing, bitch. Like it is
marketing it done well because you have to. Limitations is the best way you get creative.
Yeah.
So that brings up one that I think just kind of hit the news today, and it's to me a reverse marketing. So the new Toxic Avenger, that's with Peter Dinklage, their head of marketing or whatever came out and said it is unreleasable.
Of course.
And it's like, what do you
mean? The original one in this day and age definitely is, but
it's the Toxic Avenger. Like, what do you mean it's unreleasable? And that's all they said. They didn't go into detail. So now everybody's, why is it? Why is it unreleasable? What makes it unreleasable? I want to see this movie.
Yep.
They're doing like the anti-Warner Brothers, where if it's unreleasable, they're going to take a tax cut on it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
They're going to hide the Looney Tunes. They're going to hide Batgirl.
Well, there are people who've seen this movie like months and months ago at like festivals and like cons of different sorts and shit. And I've heard good kind of pre-word about it and kind of comparisons to the original, saying that this one pushes a little bit, but nowhere near, of course, what the original does, because you can't do that anymore.
You cannot do that.
Well, that's, people always say,
but that's smart, dude.
you can't make Blazing Saddles anymore. Yes, you can.
Well,
you just can't make Pink Flamingos anymore. You can't, there are movies you can make. There's movies you can't make anymore.
Or you can make them, but you have to be able to, or be ready to accept
the
fallout from it.
Be prepared that you might not be appreciated to make another movie ever again.
I look at Tropic Thunder. Whenever anybody tells me that Blazing Saddles cannot be made, I look at Tropic Thunder and think that the actor who played blackface the entire movie,
it's so great though. It's so funny.
The greatest living actor, the most bankable star of the most bankable movies of all time. And I don't have a problem with him playing blackface because they play it for the actual joke.
That's the thing. That is, you're
not shitting on it. You're
meta. This is ridiculous. We know we're playing ridiculous. We know we're playing offensive. We know we're playing silly. That's the part.
Absolutely.
And as an actor, he played it.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant for sure.
It was.
I mean, there's a horror film that I absolutely love. It's low budget as fuck. Is it good? But is it fun? Oh my god, hell yeah! And it's called Sleepaway Camp. And this film,
my god, with that ending,
the ultimate twist.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that
bad CGI,
incredibly hard. Well, I mean, I think back in the day, this was from like the early mid '80s, so I think that was definitely
pretty good,
realish in a way, like whatever they were showing at the ending. But I think the connotations of it are so difficult to dance around.
You can't do it
nowadays.
Well, you can't do it now. There is more Wang on film nowadays than there are boobs.
Well, no, I get that, but I think that, and again, this is not a political podcast, guys. We have but I think that making
we're talking about boobs and Wangs.
Okay, right. I think making essentially a transgender person a villain in this way is something that is very, very
easy.
Well, I think it's difficult nowadays to do that without a whole lot of outrage and backlash.
Yeah,
back in the '80s, this was not a thing, and they were never commenting on that in a negative way. That just happened to be something that was part of the film that was shocking.
It was part of the character rather than part of the plot.
Well, nowadays it would be politicized by people who are incredibly sensitive about everything.
A character that was evil because of, not because
exactly,
it was simply evil.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was not just not just a happens to be a part of someone. They would have to take it as
that's the reason.
You're trying to say everybody who's like this is awful and terrible and
I always go back to the fact that when you ever see a homeless person that's drinking, they're not homeless because they drank. They drink because they're homeless.
Or both, maybe. I guess there could be both. I'm not homeless yet, but I'm just kidding. But I enjoy a drink.
But no, hyping up movies in various ways, whether it's through shock value or very clever trailers or posters.
Yeah.
Movies have gotten a lot of hype in a lot of different ways, and sometimes they deliver, sometimes they don't.
Of course.
I think all of it is subjective.
Of course.
But
I think you have to be a savvy moviegoer. I think what happened here And while this movie, it exceeded my hype, I had like personal hype. Like it wasn't necessarily the marketing that hyped me up. I was just hyped because I like the director and I
Mhm.
like the idea of course, hopefully a new horror movie that might actually get under my skin. Like I said in my short, like this, no movie has gotten under my skin and honestly kind of scared me like this since 2018's Hereditary. And that movie fucked me up, guys. It's great. And this was like very close to doing the same thing. But I think what they did here was like selectively showed this movie to certain critics that are very friendly toward the brand. And they know are going to make hyperbolic statements about the movie and say it's the scariest of this and that, the best of this and that, the most in a decade, and all this kind of stuff. Because these brands want their name out there. They want to end up on a poster. They want to end up in the trailer. They want to end up on their social media. And partly because they want to stay friendly with Neon in this instance. And they selectively showed to the people that they knew they were going to get that kind of reaction from. And while it still is, at least critically across the board, very well received, it's not as well received as the scariest film in a decade, the best crime thriller since Silence of the Lambs, like all that kind of shit. Like that's the kind of stuff that they build this marketing campaign on that gets like regular people who aren't, and again, not derogatory, like aren't as savvy as maybe we are as moviegoers who see a lot more stuff,
Right.
To like come out of their house to like go see their like 1 or 2 movies in a year. And it just, I think, I get it. I get why you want to do it as a company, but I think also in ways you're shooting yourself in the foot, because now you're seeing a little bit of a backlash about Longlegs, and people have come out of their house for the 2 movies they're seeing this year and saw this, and they're like, fuck this movie, I hated Longlegs, this did not work for me. And I think it's a double-edged sword, guys. Like you might get that initial opening weekend, but like I don't know if the long-term backlash from regular cinema goers is worth it.
Well,
I mean, do you think people are not going to go back to the theaters because of this movie?
Well, not that, but
No.
but I think that the word of mouth on this movie alone, I think it's going to hurt it, because I think
Really?
that like the cinema score on this, I think, is a C+, which does not bode well for the movie as far as like continuing on. Like with it had a great opening weekend. We're going to see that at an absolute minimum, at least cut in half, I think, for next weekend, if not more. Because the standard film goer word of mouth just is not good on it. This is a movie for people who like artier cinema. In my opinion,
here's the thing: I don't dislike the movie. Like I said, I dislike parts of it, and I don't feel that I was duped into it. And I'm never.
No, I think we're savvier.
I'm never somebody that if I go see a movie, I'm not outraged that I didn't like it, because
same.
It's not like, oh, I didn't like that.
Well, if anything, it's because I've hyped it up. I gaslit myself into wanting
to not for you. Somebody else will like it. My favorite movie is a movie that somebody else thinks is dog shit.
Sure. And I think it was smart, like considering that it does go in this like supernatural element, like toward the end.
What movie are you thinking, Dave? I hear you. I see you giggling. Comment?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes. One of Dan's Scene Invaders' favorite movies is Comet, and Dave.
I have not seen it, guys.
Did not help but hate this movie.
I think Dan and I are on like a weird same page about some stuff too, where like I don't know. I like weird shit, guys.
I have crazy weird, like there's a movie that I always try and recommend about like a guy who it was like 60 and wants to swim the English Channel, and then like I have another one about like Martin Sheen walking the Camino de Santiago. Like I have movies that are boring as heck, but they're my favorites. Like I would not. There's the ones I don't recommend, but like I live and die with them.
Oh, of course, yeah. There are definitely things I love that I would never recommend to like just everyone. I know who is interested.
Oh, I know who.
And I know Hundreds of Beavers. I already know that's for me for sure. I just have not watched it yet.
Like, listen,
Dave and I are built very much the same.
For everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Can confirm.
Color, shape, size, whatever you believe. 100 of Beavers are for you.
This is a Hundreds of Beavers Stan YouTube channel, guys.
Yes,
YouTube channel now. Don't forget, guys.
Yes.
Hundreds of Beavers. We all love it, even if all of us haven't seen it, because
So
that's the facts of the world, guys.
I have a quick question as we're wrapping up.
Of course.
We had a lot of comments on our YouTube for our Kill movie.
Yes.
I have procured a couple of the recommendations. I haven't watched them yet. So we've been asked nicely to check out some more Indian cinema.
Sure. I'm down for sure.
I gotta tell you, the hard thing is Indian cinema really
is long, dog.
3 hour plus movies.
Now, I hate to say this because I had a block of time. I had 28 hours to watch one of these movies.
Yes.
And I couldn't do it.
Oh,
I tried watching it, and it is long, sweeping.
See, Dave and I are probably more likely, I imagine.
Well, here's the problem. I'm indoctrinated with North American movies.
Okay.
And although I appreciate the different storytelling, maybe I don't appreciate the different pace.
It took me like 2 weeks to get through RRR.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like it's
2 weeks long.
Well, then I put it at double speed. It was a 3-week long movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I am dead.
No, forgive me.
I'm not trying to shit on it. It's just one of those things that, like, I'm gonna try eventually, and if I can, I will post something. If we can coincide, and I don't know, all of our Thundercats go align, then maybe we can pull something off. And please don't take it as being rude. It's just we're gonna try. It's just not going to be an instant thing.
Sure. And honestly, like anything that you guys would be interested in hearing us talk about, let us know for sure. Like we would all be very open to that. Yeah, okay, we're gonna shit on that stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But no, we're always open to suggestions. And if we're seeing a lot of like mentions for something, any kind of movie in particular, I think all of us are very open to taking that on. Even if it's something like you're like, this is a piece of shit, and we want y'all to shit on it for an hour. Like, I think we'd all be pretty open to that too. Like, I think we all love art, and
there's 6 Transformers movies.
Okay, bro. Oh my God! Don't do it to me, guys. If y'all do that to me, I'm quitting. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a Fast and the Furious franchise. I mean, there's like good, bad, and ugly movies for everybody.
It's a great franchise when Mark Wahlberg jumps in on the end,
right? Oh, yeah. But it's on different pages, as we may all be. I think we're all incredibly open-minded about the things that we're willing to consume,
I was discussing what natural beauty in India is with one of the commentators, going back and forth. Like, these two guys aren't good looking. No, this person's good. Okay, let me see this person. Okay. Listen, I learned something.
I think the only thing I know is definitely gonna always be an out for Dave. He ain't feeling supernatural horror, guys. So at the worst, he's going to be like a side like he was for the Longlegs.
The Longlegs, doll in it was almost life-size, right?
I think that you would have a real problem with where this movie ends up, and I think it would probably
like I said, I read the spoilers, and I was struggling to sleep that night.
Okay,
and I read the spoilers, and I'm like, oh no. The clowns are going to get me.
That's why I was like, I hope he hasn't bought a ticket. Hold on, let me jump in the group chat and just scream to Dave immediately. Don't do it.
They got me. I'm like, oh, it's just like Silence of the Lambs. Everybody's going to love it. It's like Zodiac. I'm in. Oh, no.
And it has those elements, but it cleverly did hide where it ends up, which I think it had to, because it was surprising to me. I mean, they start to dole it out a little bit, like halfway through, but like, at the beginning, you really don't know that this is where this shit is going, and it really caught me off guard. And again, I was one of those people who's on board for it.
This is going to be the weirdest comparison ever. Did you guys see Logan?
Yeah,
the Wolverine movie.
Oh, for sure, it's very good. I love it.
Right, I love it, and it's great. It's great. And then at the end, he takes like this medicine that kind of amps him up to Wolverine that we really need to be. Sure. And he runs around and murders everybody. And then somebody says, oh, that stuff's wearing off, right? And the rest of the movie, he's just kind of weak. It got to a point where this movie just turned weak for me.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, I think that's a very fair assessment because
And-
it's just not
yeah.
working for some.
When X-23 got stabbed with the lightsaber 3 times, it has been one of my most upsetting things
Yes.
that I have seen this year. And I'm just,
Okay.
Logan was just can't do it.
Love for
There it
the
is.
Acolyte.
So
Come at us,
one more-
haters.
I have one more question to pose to you guys.
Please.
And God, I know we didn't discuss this, but I'm just curious to know because I'm going tomorrow at 2. Is anyone else seeing Twisters?
I am seeing it on Friday.
I'm gonna see it. I love the lead actor, although I'm a little concerned because they announced that he's not only doing a remake of The Running Man, but Edgar Wright is
What?
writing and directing. So I'm in.
Interesting.
Wait.
But they're also doing
Totally
a
in.
remake of Backdraft with him as the lead.
Yes, I just saw that. I'm like, I don't think anybody has this. Well, not anybody, but like any kind of a younger generation has any nostalgia for that movie at all.
Correct.
So, like, why making that a remake? I kind of don't get it.
I
Like,
have
it's
a
not
theory
a
about
big IP.
remakes. I have a theory about remakes. I'm going to tell you guys right now, real quick. Remakes are not for people that have seen the original.
True.
Remakes are for people that have not seen the original and get introduced to this property. So maybe
True.
they go check out the old one.
So
Yeah.
when is it okay? Is it after like 20 years or
I think that feels fair.
15 minutes if it doesn't do well.
I was gonna say that feels like a generation, kind of like 20 years.
I mean, what was the stat I read today that if Austin Powers were filmed today, it would be about the 90s. If he was going back in time today, is the same amount of
Wow.
time.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
help!
Powers went back to the 60s.
Wow.
We're all elderly guys. Like,
Yes,
you'll come
we
to know
are.
this, but we are elderly.
Check us out on YouTube and see how horrible.
We're all this. Okay, we're all the same age. Like, we'll
Mhm.
roll in on our fucking like rascal scooters and shit. Like,
No, like I said, you two
Listen,
are
I'm saving up for the Thelma model.
You two are powerful and attractive, man. I look like an old pumpkin rotting in the sun.
well, see, we have like Chubby going for us, so like Chubby don't crack.
That don't crack, man.
Sorry. So
Oh, wait, you think I'm in shape? Yes, round is a shape. You're right.
I'm gonna guess of the 3 of us, probably
That-
you're the most in shape.
That's my second band. Is Round is my shape.
Round is a
Oh
shape.
Well, that's my
God,
that's
I'm
my
dead.
solo project.
Yes. But
I
guys,
will,
thank
I
you.
will come and help pick stuff up with you as well. As
Yes.
a roadie and groupie.
But thank you so much, guys. Again, we are so fucking excited about the second YouTube
Yes.
channel. Again, it's Scene Invaders Podcast, where you're going to be able to watch the video version of this. And of course, we're always going to be available anywhere you catch just like the audio version. And again, we couldn't have a better crew and group with heart to do this. And we appreciate you guys listening, downloading, and like checking out every episode up to now. And we just hope to like forge a new path forward. And we want to become a part of your lives, guys. Like, I know
We're
that
not
sounds
stopping.
creepy,
We're not going away.
but yeah, we're not stopping. We're not going away. We have so many exciting things in the works and so many exciting things planned. And again, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us. I'll put all of our Twitters in the bio of the podcast and the YouTube. And don't hesitate to reach out to any of us and let us know things you want us to talk about, want us to review or discuss, any kind of topics that you're interested in. Like, we're always going to be open-minded to that. And I mean, as things come in, yeah, we may have to prioritize. So if you don't hear it right away, of course, it's never personal, but we're just always looking for support, and we consider you part of the family, guys. And we appreciate you listening. Thank you for coming to Scene Invaders, guys.
Join us.
Have a good night. Yeah, join us for real. Take me to your theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Good night, guys.
Night, everybody. Say good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
So, it's another old ass reference.
Holy shit, dude.